Environmental and climate change resilience is one of government's strategic priorities in the 2014-2015 financial year. The administration sees this as a critical part of the formula to sustain Jamaica's social and economic growth and the broader Vision 2030 development plan. The Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change is leading this charge. On the immediate agenda, the management of Jamaica's protected areas and watersheds, preserving our beach resources, air quality monitoring, maintaining and expanding the island's forest cover, and the promotion of orderly and sustainable development. It is internationally accepted that any plan for environmental sustainability must provide for the establishment and effective management of protected areas. That's why this financial year, Cabinet will be asked to approve a Protected Areas System Master Plan.
This four-year plan will ensure the effective management of our protected areas in order to sustain the ecosystem services that they provide, namely clean air and water purification, habitats for endemic species, preventing soil erosion as well as protecting against flood and hurricanes.
A National Protected Areas Trust Fund will also be established with financing from the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund and other sources. This will support Jamaica's thrust to conserve 25% of the island's marine areas by the year 2020.
So working on the promulgation Managed Resource Protected Area Regulation under the NRCA Act. These regulations govern different types of activities within protected areas, such as residential and commercial and conservation areas, to name a few.
As part of the goal for environmental and climate change resilience, the lead ministry for these efforts is taking steps to protect the integrity of Jamaica's beaches and increase access to citizens. A comprehensive beach access and management policy is being developed. This will provide the public with physical access to the beach, foreshore, and the sea on a managed basis and increase opportunities for recreational use of the beach and coastal areas in an environmentally sound manner.
It also aims to protect the traditional rights of fishermen to access the foreshore of the sea upon beaching of their vessels.
The policy will be forwarded to Cabinet for approval as a green paper in this financial year and will be subject to public consultation. Work will meanwhile be advanced to construct breakwater structures of approximately 990 meters in Negril to reduce beach degradation and allow for natural growth of the beach over time.
For 2014-2015 financial year, we will further expand the air quality monitoring program to Manchester and St. Catherine.
This builds on last year's achievements when the number of monitoring sites was increased to 8. To further support that, the ministry is to advance discussions with Jamaica's international partners to procure a mobile air quality laboratory that will monitor greenhouse gases. This will increase the country's emergency response to air pollution incidents and allow for the prompt dissemination of information to our emergency response teams during major hazards. NEPA is also to finalize the draft motor vehicle emission standards for adoption into a regulatory framework.
The implementation of this regulatory framework will allow the country to realize the testing of motor vehicle emission and regulate fleet emission.
This will be supported by the implementation of a global fuel efficiency initiative looking at issues related to clean fuels and vehicle efficiency. Currently, about 8% of Jamaica is considered protected forests, but those are constantly under threat from forest raiders.
I take this opportunity to make an appeal to all Jamaicans. Please stop raiding our forests. We must preserve what we have. And if you breach the regulations and chop down our forests, we are coming after you with the full force of the law.
In fact, the fines will be increased for offenses committed against the Forest Act of 1996 and the 2001 forest regulations. At the same time, the ministry is encouraging Jamaicans to plant 500,000 trees this year. Significant focus going forward will also be on town and country planning and development planning, in recognition of the need to respond to the rapid urbanization of our towns and cities.
Development orders facilitate the rational and progressive development of lands. During the last financial year, our provisional development orders were promulgated for the Negril and Green Island, along with the parishes of Portland, Trelawney, and Manchester. Also, draft development orders for Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, excluding Portmore, Clarendon, and St. Thomas have also been completed and have been reviewed. It's being reviewed by the Town and Country Planning Authority.
The government is also moving to draft and promulgate 5 remaining development orders, which will cover Westmoreland, St. Mary, St. Elizabeth, and St. James. This would put the entire island for the first time under the control of the Town and Country Planning Act by 2017. Even as government pursues those strategies, activities directly targeted at climate change resilience are also being pursued. A green paper on the Climate Change Policy Framework and Action Plan is currently being finalized for submission to Parliament as a white paper. Several other deliverables are expected to be realized by the end of the financial year. Among them, the procurement and installation of 2 automatic weather stations to enhance the climate data collection by the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. 2 automatic weather stations and computer hardware will also be sourced to establish a climate database at the National Spatial Data Management Division and the conversion of manually recorded climate data to a digital format. A climate change vulnerability assessment and an adaptation strategy and action plan will also be developed for the fisheries sector. And through the recently established Climate Change Division and Climate Change Focal Point Network, a climate change action plan will be rolled out across the public sector and the wider society. In financial year 2014-2015, government is managing and advancing Jamaica's environmental agenda, building climate change resilience, and setting the platform for sustainable growth and development.